Ted, I'd like to introduce you to Tim Cothren, who's actually a professional video journalist. He is a freelancer for ABC, and he was able to get inside what we are all calling ground zero of the World Trade Center today. And as you pointed out, he has some rather extraordinary video that we would like to show you now. We've condensed it, obviously, quite a bit. He shot, and Tim, why don't you tell us what we're seeing here? And about what time did you go in?
I started shooting tape about 2:30 in the afternoon. We entered the big atrium of the old the financial center, and this atrium used to be absolutely gorgeous. But in order to get to the wreckage, we had to go through this other building. At the top of these stairs, there was some graffiti that was actually written in the sand that's everywhere as a dedication to the brothers of all the firemen, and they all consider themselves brothers. And it's very, very important to them that they be remembered. And I thought that was a very special thing there.
What are we hearing here?
Well, a lot of saws, a lot of hubbub. And you walk forward, and here's this panoramic window of this vast, vast, vast destruction and all this activity going on outside.
What was the temperature like in there? Was it hot? Was it uncomfortable to be in there?
No, well, you know, we've been very fortunate that these days have been so beautiful in New York City. So it was eerie. Here you were in this enormous amphitheater of destruction, and it was just one of the nicest days of the year. But a tremendous amount of sawing and banging. And the guys work in teams, they help each other out. Sometimes if they find a particularly hot or interesting spot, they'll work in groups of 10 or a dozen. And it's all hands-on work. They're not using any heavy tools here, as you can see. They're going bit by bit. It's arduous, it's hard, and these guys are putting all their effort into it.
It also seems rather dangerous. I see many jagged pieces of metal. Did you have a sense of being in danger while you were on top of the rubble?
There's tons and tons of broken glass all over the place. I only had tennis sneakers on, so I was pretty worried. But you picked where you walked, and you just choose where you stepped.
What are we seeing here?
Well, this is poignant in that this is a fire truck. This is a badly, badly charred fire truck. And it's one of the few things in this valley that has been actually kind of cleaned off and hosed off. Because it means a lot to these guys. I mean, you can see it's absolutely, absolutely destroyed. The tires are burned, all the rigging is destroyed. And they're using it sort of as a table, as a setup area. And it really means a lot to them. It's a staging area, as well as a place where some people get very, very emotional because a lot of guys died there. A lot.
And paying their respects.
And paying their respects.
Even as they continue to do the job to which they've been assigned today.
Absolutely.
Did you have a sense of being very far up? Did you have a sense of being a couple of stories up atop the rubble there?
It was really hard to gauge elevation because you're surrounded by some high pieces as well. You're sort of just this sensation of being in something of a valley. And it's just everything is smashed to atoms. There are no big pieces of anything.
And I think that this photograph speaks for itself. I think that everyone will recognize what is occurring here, that the remains of someone are being removed.
Exactly. In the 2 hours that I was there, I saw at least 10 body bags being lifted out, and they seemed to find 2 and 3 sets of remains, and they used dogs. They called the dogs in, and the dogs have been there for, I'm sure, quite some time. In fact, before I left, they actually retired the dogs. The dogs actually got very fatigued, and they gave them the afternoon off, or the rest of the afternoon, which they certainly deserved. And they helped pick up body scents and so forth.
A sight that has become rather familiar from disasters in which Americans have volunteered around the world, but not one I think Americans expect to see here.
Just everybody pitching in, you know, it's the bucket brigade syndrome where guys just move stuff out, they move it to the outside. And it was really hard because even though this disaster only happened a day ago, these cadavers are starting to decompose, and it was hard. It was hard for everybody, and it made everybody realize that it's only going to get worse in coming days. These guys work in teams. They'll investigate a nook, a cranny. They'll put their heads together and come up with a plan.
And they're crawling under rather large slabs of plaster and concrete and metal. They don't seem very well protected.
Well, that's their job. They love it. They do it. There they are, scaling up enormous pieces of debris. And so as I was leaving, at about 5:15, everyone started running.
A sudden change of energy here. What's going on?
Absolutely. They got a call on the phone, over the horn, that the structure that was adjacent to us was unstable and may come down. So I hit the record button and started running along with everyone. We took a breath here to, you know, see if there was anything else going on, and then we suddenly heard this rumble, which you may hear on the tape, and it scared me to death. And that was it. We just bolted. The 60 pounds of gear I had on me weighed nothing. We just flew out of there, scared to death.
And when did you begin to calm back down? How long did it take before your heart rate came back down and you...
Well, I'll tell you what, watching this stuff brings it right back up. I'll tell you that. And it makes you realize what these guys and women are doing and how much it means to them.
Ted, as I said, some rather extraordinary footage from Tim Cothren, freelance video journalist, a freelancer for ABC, and I can tell you that he's still actually covered with plaster dust, and the smell of smoke still clings to him. Ted?